The yellow in the Anbudan, that's Chennai Super Kings at this point. They already were making news in this IPL auction. They were the first major newsmakers because a 12-year association has officially ended, barring those 2 years of that period. 16 and 17, he was with Gujarat Lions. But 18 title winning, 21 title winning, 23 title winning, Jaddu Kutti Singham is out.
By the way, the biggest headline from CSK is 11 players they've released.
Yes.
That's
11 players. But I think after the season they had...
You had to have a purge finishing at the bottom. What did you think?
In fact, in our analysis, you remember, we said they will go into the auction with the highest purse. We've not got that right because KKR has gone with a higher purse. But the reason we said that they'll go with a higher purse because they'll release the most amount of players. So we're right on that count. They have released the most amount of players, but some of their players don't have that value add in terms of the money.
Correct.
So the purse doesn't look big, but they have released 11.
The whole difference would have been, see, this would have easily become 61 crore if it wasn't for the 18 crore
trade.
Yeah, the trade that they have with that they've had with Rajasthan for Sanju Samson.
Because if you look
this
at
is a strong 61 crore purse as well. But it's in a way they've already spent those 18 crores. I think that's only the difference between the KKR purse and the CSK
because
purse.
if you look at the purse, if you look at the trade, the only trade that KKR did was Mayank Markanday to MI.
And that wasn't even a two-way trade, it was a one-way trade.
One-way trade, exactly. But already you look at it, Ravindra Jadeja is like, okay, final years for him. He's going back to the place where it all began for him. And when you hear Kasi Vishwanathan as to what he said that, see, we know that his white ball career, he's in the twilight of his career. So if you wanted a break, this is the moment. This is the moment where you make a choice. And I think Jadeja only waited for certain things to go his way because he was singed and hurt by 2022. Let's make no mistake about it. He will remain the only captain who got sidetracked halfway. Ruturaj had a bad season, but he got to captain the full year.
And Ruturaj last season got injured, which is why...
Exactly. So, Jadeja going, but the major news is he's not going at 18 crore, he's going at 14 crore. A reduced price. I am okay by releasing Matheesha Pathirana. He was becoming a liability with the death in the death overs because he was so wayward. And over rates, you would get players suspended, you would get players fined. His wides and his yorkers had deserted him totally in IPL 2024 and 2025. So, Fielding, I mean, you let go of Thikshana.
He comes from the Thikshana.
He is not even part of the Sri Lankan T20 setup. He's not even making the Sri Lankan team right now.
And
has had a massive dip in form.
MS Dhoni was right. You can't pigeonhole him into ODIs. And when did the dip begin? After he got picked in the World Cup of 2023. And you saw what happened. Going at 7 overs, 95 against Pakistan and all those things.
And since then, he's been now out of his core strength, which was T20. He's out of that T20 team.
He's out. So
I'm going to, what you're seeing on your screens were only the top 5 releases. As I said, they've released 11, the most by any team. Let me quickly run you through all 11 that they have released. There is of course Ravi Jadeja, as you know, Rachin Ravindra, you've got Devon Conway, Matheesha Pathirana, Sam Curran, which is also part of that trade. Then you have got Andre Siddharth's favorite.
As I said, it's good. He would have, his career would have ended in CSK.
We'll come one by one. Andre Siddharth, Deepak Hooda, Rahul Tripathi, Sheikh Rashid and Vijay Shankar. I think all of us had kind of said that they are going to go out. So this is that number of players, 11 that they have released.
Fab 4.
Yeah. Indeed.
I'm being sarcastic, obviously. They weren't fab. But
I agree with that sarcasm.
Deepak Hooda, Rahul Tripathi, Vijay Shankar, Sheikh Rashid.
The Fab 4.
Yeah.
Very the purse of 43 crores. Huh?
Yeah.
Very well. Of course, Vansh Bedi also goes out.
Kamlesh Nagarkoti.
But I would have thought you could have kept a Vansh Bedi, young.
Even Nagarkoti, what is
Nagar,
that?
yeah.
But young in CSK.
Young and CSK, exactly. It doesn't.
Also, Nagarkoti
never got a chance.
Neither did Nagarkoti.
But I think why they released a Vansh Bedi now.
Nagarkoti got a chance. One game, I think he played.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a chance.
No, I can understand why Vansh Bedi, because now you have he could also keep, was it? No.
No.
They got Urvil Patel
Urvil, and
to
remember
do
he
that.
got the fastest 100
Yeah.
in
T20
T20 cricket.
No. So see, imagine CSK actually did the retention and trading during the season only, last season.
Yes.
So I pointed out.
Evolved.
Three.
Teen case.
Matre.
Yeah.
Ayush Matre.
So while rest of the teams are doing it now, Chennai is saying we've done this trade.
And then we also told Ashwin to retire.
Yeah.
Free up 10 crores there.
So
9.75, yeah.
So they did the trading last season while
And one player के साथ तीन चीज मुफ्त. You got a wicket keeper, you got a top order bat, you got a backup keeper and a captain in Sanju Samson, who's now here.
out of all the teams that go into this season, CSK will be the most revamped.
Yeah.
From the auction of last season, because as I said, 3 very important trades they did during the
Course of
IPL. By the way, one of the players who they used to do the trade was Gurjapneet Singh, right?
But
Yes.
he's managed to cling on.
But how can you do that? That's my question. So they got Brevis, I think, for Gurjapneet, right?
Yes.
So now how can they retain both Brevis and Gurjapneet?
They were not released from the squad. No, Gurjapneet was just out for the season, and they decided then okay, we
But
don't
they
want to
didn't
release him.
replace. They didn't replace. So who did they replace Brevis with?
Gurjapneet.
So then how can you keep both?
You can keep both. Because if you want them, you paid them the price that you want to come in.
Maybe because
No, but then that has to be deducted from their purse, which I think it has been.
It would have been because
Yeah.
that's why they've managed
also
to.
the
No, because
captain
earlier
was
it doesn't.
25 players. Maybe they had room then. You can't register 26 player, right?
Yes, but no, during the auction, once you're done. You have to then only get a replacement.
No, but I think if they release other players, then they
Yeah,
can.
but,
Then they
but
can, yeah.
Because I remember-
after the season gets over, there is a trade window, right?
Yeah.
Trade window opens immediately after.
So
season
they'll
gets over.
count any one of these players
Yes.
as a replacement.
So anyway, see, the rule was, I think, you can't trade a replaced player who came in. Maybe that's why you're saying that Rajasthan Royals wanted Devol Brevis also, right? There was one report that was going on. But you couldn't because he was a replacement player for Gurjapneet Singh. That's where I think it broke down
So
entirely.
I also remember this because it was the CL T20 of that year, which is 2011, when RCB were playing in it. And that was the year they had brought in as a replacement Chris Gale for Dirk Nanners. But come CL T20, both of them were playing in the same 11. So
Let's not count CLT20. It was that year in which Mumbai Indians, they had no local player in their side. They wanted 5 foreigners to be played,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
played 5 foreigners. So let's not even get to
my
20
point
now.
is, and that has happened in the past also, that a replacement comes in, and if they can accommodate you within afterwards.
Yeah.
I'm saying the point is that when they allowed or accommodating them,
side by side.
as long as they were in the squad, as long as they were in the budgetary constraints, it's okay. So that doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So, okay, see, this is the most revamped because you bought in players who could not live up to potential. I mean, you talked about the Fab Four.
That's like CSK fans saying the same thing, KKR fans saying the same thing, shake hands.
Yeah.
You've gone for a full-on revamp at this point.
Full on revamp. And I'm glad that this has happened. Because Kasi Vishwanathan, there was a big statement that he made, and it is a clear indication of the future. We are now in a transition phase. This is the transition that you're talking about. You needed fresh blood, you needed fresh players in the team, and it only sums up my theory that MS Dhoni 2027 is his last. So that is why it just will not happen. You got the replacements right now. You have to buy smart. You can't go on knee-jerk reactions like what you did in 2025.
At this point, I'll believe Thala is retiring when I see that whatever social media.
No, he's not retiring. By the way, the update from that front is that he's been practicing regularly
No, he's
in
saying
Ranchi.
27, not this year.
Yeah, this year though,
27, yeah.
Thala is practicing, getting ready for IPL. Even though there's still a long time, he's
But he
gymming.
needs to get into-
He's gymming. He's been doing net practices, so he's slowly getting into the
But
groove.
I don't know if it will help his dodgy knee though. Because with all the regime that he's got, he still gets
No,
into
but
it.
they've now at least got a backup, no?
Yeah, Sanju.
So they've got Sanju Samson precisely for
Strong
that
backup.
reason.
Yeah.
So if they need for him to keep, and maybe if MS is missing a few games, can't play all games, then you have a wicket keeper, which they were reluctant to do last time around.
And it's a clear indication also that the conditions in Chepauk have changed. You cannot have spin-friendly decks anymore there. It will be far more sporting. It will be far more, if you were to look at, because see, you got Mukesh Chaudhary, you got Nathan Ellis, Gurjapneet, Anshul Kamboj, Khalil Ahmed, your two spinners, when you look at it, are actually only Noor Ahmed and Shreyas Gopal.
So for Siddharth, for years now, the stereotype of Chennai or Chepauk has actually been going. It's not really been a spin-friendly venue for quite some time now. And I think it's the other way around. I think CSK are adapting to the realities of what Chepauk is now.
But in CSK's case, I also remember that after the first two matches, things got exactly the way that the franchise would have wanted. The first two matches, I think, in fact, they lost at Chepauk.
And RCB they lost to, and they lost to MI.
And then things sort of evened out. However, like having said that, I know the nature of the pitch has changed, but even then, CSK still maintain a very good record at the Chepauk.
Okay, what do you make of the entire trade? Anyone that shocks you? Are you happy with it? How much do you rate it?
I rate 8 out of 10.
Same.
Because it was needed. You needed the revamp. You needed to ensure that all the players who were not performing were booted out. And that is exactly what has happened. Okay. I would have persisted with a Rachin. Ravindra. That is the one thing. You see, you need an aggressive batter at the top. Okay, you've got an Ayush Matre, you've got a Sanju, good.
You've got to develop Brevis.
But Brevis is a middle order bat. I'm talking about Rachin, who can be a top order bat. He can do well, but yes, his T20 numbers aren't that great. So,
exactly. I think that's what worked against him.
Yeah. But I'm overall happy with it. I think Jaddu, yes, people will say, even Kasi was getting a lot of messages saying, how could you do this to your loyal servant who's helped you with 3 titles?
Jaddu's front, it was also Jadeja who wanted out.
Yeah.
And now it is pretty much established. The reason that he was looking to go out was the fact that his captaincy ambitions were, almost, you could say that even his captaincy aspirations for India was scuttled at that time, not just for CSK but for India as well. And now the reason he may have wanted to go there is primarily because they are offering him the captaincy, and I think I'd be very surprised if anybody else other than Ravindra Jadeja will be the captain. This would have been part of his negotiations. Of course, negotiations are always done between franchises. Players don't have a say because let's say if Chennai reached an agreement with RR, Jadeja couldn't have done anything.
Correct me if I'm wrong, for a trade deal you do need the consent of the player.
No, it is up to the franchise, I think. The franchise can say no, I don't want.
That consent is on paper only.
But a trade deal, without an auction, if a player is not entering, the consent of the player is required while a trade is happening. It cannot happen without the consent of a player. In the auction, of course, the player has no control.
I'm not sure about it. Because I remember, but that was different. In Hardik's case, Hardik wanted out, he wanted to go. But if Gujarat wanted it not to happen, there was no way he could have gone.
See, the franchise obviously has to be on board with of a trade deal, but the player's consent is also needed.
I don't know whether that's really needed, but I'm sure CSK in this case would have spoken to Jadeja, and he would have said, okay, if I get captaincy along with it, then probably I'll do it. So I think that's the reason why he's decided to go. But overall, if I look at that thing, I think most of these trades we had predicted. I thought that they would let go of Conway as well as a Ravindra. Rachin I thought more so than Conway, but Conway has also not had great returns, so he had to go. Sam Curran also was okay to move, I believe. He was keen to go from here. He
was not the Sam Curran of 2021.
Correct. He was ready to go with the more English setup that Rajasthan has, as you know.
Although I think, correct me if I'm wrong.
I just checked on the trade front, on the consent front. Trades may also take place through all cash deals where a player is transferred in exchange for a fee. A player's consent is mandatory for any trade, though the final decision on retaining or releasing a player ultimately rests with the franchise.
But what does that mean? If the final decision rests with me, then how does your consent really matter? I just want to know.
It's like veto.
Exactly my point.
But
so let's say
the franchise can always veto, but if I don't want it in the first place, the franchise doesn't even.
No, but I'm saying final decision rests with me. You don't want it, but final decision rests with me. I want it. Then final decision rests with me.
I can stay with you till the end of the.
No, but you're saying final decision. My decision is I don't want to have you. Just saying how.
But I may not agree. Then I'm going to run down the window.
But the final decision rests with me.
Not run down the window. They'll release you to the auction. If it comes down to
that. Mini auction you can throw me into.
So that's what I'm saying. No, I
can. The actual power rests with the franchise.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Yeah, trade maybe to which
Trade.
team you want to go
Trade.
to. Yeah, that I agree.
Bilateral
But if I
trade.
don't want a player, I'd release
Yeah,
him.
you throw him
into the auction. Yeah, that you can. Okay. So yeah, pretty much I think was on expected lines that they have done. As I said, they had done their trading last season only,
Yeah.
and they will do much more.
Much more.
Go with about 43.4 CR to fix all the areas, the middle order where they've released a Tripathi, a Huda, which used to, and Vijay Shankar used to form part of that middle order, which was misfiring. Now you can go shopping and get those, because you will definitely need that. You've got an amazing opener in Ayush Matre now. You tried him, he's done it. You've got Brevis one in the middle order now that you can use. So I think Sanju will come in.
Who's come in, yeah.
It's pretty sorted. Maybe one or two more
You
Indian.
got Dube in the middle order who can.
Dube is always there.
Solidity.
Yeah. So
Yeah, by the way, we were talking about nitpicking for graphics. Ravindra Jadeja is showing in the Chennai
Yeah,
squad
I saw
here.
Yeah, but
yeah.
they are.
That's
they
a
yet
bad-
to recover. So you see, you got a good middle order when Ruturaj, Brevis, and if you look at it,
Shivam
Dube. It's a good middle order.
And I think Overton, they'll expect to play more games now, considering they need that pace bowling all-round option, right?
Yep.
With no Sam Curran, now Overton becomes the primary, unless they can get someone bigger in
Someone
the...
else, yeah.
By the way, just a word on CSK, that they've announced that Ruturaj is their captain. So no.
Until he gets injured.
Or you want to believe that he's the captain.
Arey Siddharth, yaar. Stop with
No, or like how Gurjapneet also got
No, but
injured.
he meant something else.
I know, but I'm just saying this injury point is true.
Rituraj last year also conveniently got injured and then season floundering. Thala stepped
But
back.
they've
and
announced
became
that.
worse.
It
No
didn't
control.
revive their fortunes
It
at
became
all.
worse.
No,
Don't believe in the Thala magic. He will white ant Ruturaj. But that's okay.
who will be vice captain? Sanju Samson.
Sanju, most-
Jadeja was vice captain CSK.
Yeah, yeah.
Sanju Vishwanath Samson, my friend.